a Retic Rundown, where the giants roam and the legends are found. Uncoil the truth, the wisdom of sound in the Retic Rundown. We're breaking new ground. From the jungle's deep to the captive scene, Retics rule the world if you know what I mean. With patterns so bold and sizes extreme, in the Retic Rundown, we're breaking new ground. Welcome to the Retic Rundown, where the giants roam and the legends are found. Uncoil the truth and let the wisdom resound. In the Retic Rundown, we're breaking new ground. Unlocking secrets of the serpentine kings, sharing knowledge, stories, everything it brings. From breeders to keepers, we pull the strings in the Retic Rundown. Hear the echoing rings. Welcome to the Retic Rundown, where the giants roam and the legends are found. Uncoil the truth and let the wisdom resound. In the Retic Rundown, we're breaking new ground. Welcome, Retic lovers. Welcome, Retic lovers.
What's up, everybody? So everybody's in the chat. How's it going? We got Jason, Emily, Sammy, the Python Porter Will, Retics, or Celtic Reptiles, RO. What's up, everybody? So as you can see, we have Dax with DNT with us tonight. Chris had an emergency at work where he was just not going to be able to get on. And Dax has graciously at the last minute agreed to come on. So by all means, Dax, introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are for those that don't know.
What's up, everybody? I am Dax, one half of DNT Retics. My fiance Taylor is the other half, but she didn't come to Tinley this weekend, so there's no reason to have her around to talk about anything because she's already mad that I went alone. So.
Oh man. Well, hey, once again, dude, I really appreciate you coming on last minute. So this was cool. And
Okay.
it worked out perfect, because you were at Tinley, so we can definitely discuss Tinley.
Sir.
And then we're going to talk a little bit about, for people that are going to shows and stuff, and hit some question and answers from each side, give them some knowledge. Dax is going to drop some real good knowledge on you guys. And then, we're going to have a great show. So, man, so as everybody knows, NARBC Tinley was this weekend. It was huge. We did a great job. I think we raised over $105,000 for US SARC at the auction, which
crazy.
yes,
crazy good work.
awesome. And I mean, it's always, the best part about it is, at least for me, is I only go to 3 shows a year. And they're the ones in Chicago. I know some of you guys get to meet up a lot more, but it's always a blast just getting to see everybody. So, that is the definite cool part there. So, tell me, man, what was your favorite part about this Tinley?
This Tinley was, I'll be honest with you, just getting to see everybody like you just said. It's like, it's being down here stuck in Texas and Oklahoma and some parts of Louisiana, and that's the furthest we go. So to go and get to see everybody or people you haven't seen in a year or two, to catch up with everybody's the best part. And then walking around, I mean, that show is big. So
That is
you got to catch that. If you're a reptile lover, it doesn't matter. You go there because either you're going to fall in love with something else or you're going to see something that tickles your fancy and you're going to get it there. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's probably the best breeder show out there.
I agree. I definitely love it. I want to get to some more shows to get a little more experience. I know you've got to hit some that I haven't hit, but I know like one of them I want to hit one of these days is going to be the Pomona Super Show. I want to see what a West Coast show is like, it's different. And stuff, which would be really cool. But Tinley is always a blast, man. It really is. So, what do you think was the coolest animal you've seen while you were there?
To be honest with you, there was a bunch of them. I mean, that druid blood python was pretty sick. Not gonna lie, I'm not a big bull person, but going to Justin's table, just I mean, the stuff he has on that thing is ridiculous, bro. I mean,
You
you can't. That doesn't. It just
you
there's
can't
no
not be
words for it.
impressed, you know?
No,
You
dude,
can't not be
you
impressed for
you can't.
sure.
There's some nice stuff out there, and again, that's the main part about Tinley is like you're going to see some stuff that just it's you'll never see. So even at, like at the retic tables, you don't like going to see Aubrey stuff. I mean, you're
Right,
not gonna see the I mean, I deal with him, so you'll see him down here in Texas, or you'll see him down here when he graciously sends anything my way. But it's just going there to see things, that you can't even imagine. It's some stuff leaves you like speechless. Totally, it's like you guys have some crazy stuff. I mean, your booth is probably one of the best booth setups that it's out there. Literally, I don't think there's anybody else that compares to your guys' booth. Um,
I like that we do our booth completely different, you know? And I try and
mhm,
talk to everybody, it's like, "Oh, well, how do you get them to come in? Quit putting separation between you and them with a table."
mhm.
So figure out how to bring it in, so I think that works really well. My favorite thing is the 360 tower.
Oh yeah, yeah,
If it brings everybody in, it's really cool. So but the that that way of bringing people into your space is, guys, if you're looking
yeah.
for something different, man, make yourself stand out.
No, definitely. You guys definitely have that whole setup nice, man. There's not many like you guys out there. To be honest with you, I can't remember if there is anybody like that with a setup like that. I mean, you guys take such pride in your stuff, and it's amazing. And then you're always packed, so that's another thing.
Yeah, right. And it's always in that tight little corner, like I'm like, can we get some more space? Like, but
You gotta be away
we
from
make
that
it
door, that doorway.
that doorway, boy, it gets them, but it's tight there. But it
Yep.
is a lot of fun. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I got, of course, like me, I'm nonstop busy. I try and get away, and then I get called back real quick. But I think, man, I can't think of the name of who it was off the top of my head, but they had the captive bred Bolins,
Oh,
and that, um, man,
fluid
it's like,
or fruit or something. I think I know who you're
yeah,
talking about. Yeah.
they weren't far from me. They're like one or two over,
Hmm.
and but man, I went down and seen them, and just when they're young like that, and the reds that are still in them, and oh, man, it's so pretty.
Yeah,
And
it's
I mean,
amazing.
for anyone that's a snake person, like a Bolin's is just like, oh, that's the holy grail. Like, oh, that everybody's just like, oh, they're
Yeah.
so cool, but they're so
Yeah.
different. It's just a unique snake for sure.
Yeah, it's awesome, and it's a good thing that he keeps making more and more, so
For
eventually,
sure.
it'll be available to more and more people, and even right now, I think what do you have, like, 6 on the table, if that? 4 maybe?
I
Dang.
seen three,
Okay.
so I seen
So one
three.
may have went then, so because I remember seeing 4 and it wasn't much more than that, but
Right.
it yeah, that dude and he was the only person there who had him, I think there was nobody else who had him, you know?
Yeah, I didn't see anybody else, but don't hold me to it. I was making quick rounds.
Yeah, that's how it
So,
is when you're there. I don't even know how you got out of behind your booth, man. It's ridiculous. I don't even know how you had time.
oh, it's wild, but it's a lot of fun. So, did you pick up anything? Did you get anything, or did you just come hang out?
I come to hang out. That's it. I can't put anything on the table next to Aubrey. You kidding me? I can't. It's just like they'll walk by me and just go straight to his section. So for me, it's pointless. But we're actually doing me and him are doing NARBC in St. Louis. So we're doing
Nice.
that. We're doing that together. So
Oh, that'll be
yeah,
cool.
you'll get the top of the top of the mainland stuff, and you'll get whatever we have, which is mediocre stuff. I don't ever, they're still beautiful, but I just don't have what he has. Not yet, at least. I mean, I have the keys there, and the keys are working, and the locks are coming, but I'm not at his position yet. So it's always
Oh,
nice
for
to have it,
sure.
though. Hmm.
Yeah. No, I get it. I mean, I'm in the same boat, so I want one of these days. That ocelot stuff will be in Super Dwarf, but until then, we'll see.
Nah, you
Yeah,
guys will have it soon.
I don't know. I didn't pick any new animals up. I did get I got a new enclosure for my Chihuahua gecko. My buddy Eric Calamar does custom enclosures, and so got a new my Chihuahua is gonna be spoiled. He's 36 by 18 by 18, full bioactive and
Nice.
stuff. So it yeah, here, hang on. I'll give you guys a little peek at it. It's not plugged in yet, but it here, let me open the door so you're not getting reflection off the glass. But this is what the Chihuahua is gonna get.
Nice.
Got a nice
Real
deer
nice.
skull in the center and
Yeah.
stuff. So man, it's
He's
um
definitely gonna have a good time in there. I'll tell you that.
right.
Nice little setup. Yeah. It's always nice
So
when we
that
could do
was
that for the retics when they're babies, but
right. Yeah, that's the
after
next
that, it
goal.
destroy.
Oh, they are retics are so destructive and a bioactive, so destructive. But
Hmm.
oh man, so yeah, man. But other than that, like Tinley had a blast. But I want to talk a little bit for people like that are on, about what people should be like going into a mentality at a show,
Hmm.
So, you're and from a person that's, from our perspective as well, kind of what to expect. So we're gonna hit a couple different things and topics and stuff. Um, and I think the one thing that I'd like to hit first would be like from your end, right? When you have someone come up to your table and they start talking about retics, right? What is your process? Um, for like kind of vetting that person, getting that feeling of like, do they have enough understanding? Take us through that for you.
Yeah, for me, it's I love helping people out, so that's my favorite thing doing. It's speaking with them, and what I usually do is I usually question them, and I'll leave a few things out and see if they catch on and if they fill in the blanks. I'm a
Right.
big person like that. I don't feed so much information. I will feed you 75% of the information, and I will let you reciprocate with the 25. So this way, your 25%, I know you have some sort of knowledge in it. That's my biggest thing. It's just and most people, I'm not gonna lie to you, and we're known for not selling to just everybody. I turn people away just for basic questions that they can't answer or they don't answer or they sit there and ponder for the harder questions. I'll give them a pass on some stuff, but being
Right.
a newbie, I can't expect them to learn 100% right there on the spot. And some people come and you'd be surprised. I've had people who've never had one and have read so much about it. It's like, man, how long you've never had one before? And they're like, nope. And I'm like, wow, pretty good. I said, now you'll just get the experience, and that's the biggest thing. I won't sell anybody anything big, especially if they're a newer person to the, I don't care what they say. Oh, I love snakes and I did this and I've had that. No, I will not sell anybody a bigger retic. I do not care. We tend to not sell bigger retics. So for us, getting the newer people in who are more knowledgeable, the babies fly. It's
Right.
just easier for us to, we let them handle them. That's another thing too. I always watch how people are. And you can tell anybody could say what they want, but when that snake's in their hand and all of a sudden they're shaking,
Yeah.
it's like
It's the realness comes out then, boy. Like
yeah,
you'll
you
know.
you you'll know, and it's like they're nervous, or they'll back up, and then they'll hold it away from them, and it's like just don't be nervous. They'll know that you're nervous, and they tend to go with the flow as the bigger ones do. If they know you're nervous, they'll mess with you. But our biggest thing is just having people come to the table and just vetting them with knowledge. And again, my biggest thing is if you can't if you can't fill in my blanks, go home, come back another week.
Yeah.
and we also tell people, call us. You're more than welcome. Dude, I never sleep. I rarely sleep. So people call me at 11 o'clock at night with the most funniest questions, but it's always good. So I always answer them. They get me right away. 5 minutes later, I'm talking to them, and we just go from there. So that's the biggest thing for me. I'd rather also um, teach people how we did it. I've taken, we've only been in the game for 4 years. So I have a lot of friends who are the big dogs, like you guys, you, Garrett, Aubrey, Shane, Jake, everybody. Don't shake your head. it's
You know how it is every time I walk up in your group, man. I tell y'all, boy, I'm just happy to be around the big dogs, man.
and you learn, and not every situation or not every experience that they have will meld with you. You learn to take ideas from other people, and that's the biggest thing. So what we do is, if I just feel somebody's not fully ready yet, I will sit there and I'll be like, do me a favor, call me next week, we'll talk about a few things, and it'll be the things that they missed, and I'll catch them on
Right.
that. So that's how we do things there.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I've got a similar vetting process, Um, definitely either way at the shows or, and I've talked about this on well, I mean, we're on our fourth episode, but we, talked about that before. But it's like I've got, whether it's online, text or at a show, it's, I've got my starter questions, and then from there, it definitely is, I think, something that you just, kind of get a feel for too. You learn to trust your gut. And how are you answering those questions? How are you like, or what are your expectations? I love it when I've got people that are like, I want a retake that does not exceed 5 feet. And I'm like, okay, now why the question is, why do you not want it to exceed 5 feet? And they're like, well, I think that's going to be big. And I'm like, all right, cool. So like, here's the deal. Like our mentality, like I've said before, we hear feet and we automatically equate it to a human because that's our natural response.
Mhm.
And I'm like, let me show you what a 7 foot retic looks like in my 10-year-old's hand, right? Like, it's different than what your thoughts are. And I think that at that point, then they're starting to click, right? And I think um, once they really understand what that size actually looks like, then they're like, oh, well, let me readjust my thought process a little bit. And I think that's the positive side of it with the teaching aspect is you take
Yes.
someone who's like, all right, I want this, 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 and this. And then if you approach them in a mannerism with tact and understanding, which, and you see a lot of breeders that don't, they're like, you don't know what you're talking about. Don't talk to me. Don't waste my time. Right. If you're going to gatekeep it like that, I mean, we all have our days where we get irritated and, it's like, take the day off. You don't have to, like, but don't turn someone away that's asking for knowledge or that you have a chance, right? If you need a
Yeah.
break, take your break, walk away, come back to them. But if you make them feel
Inadequate.
dumb, someone is going to sell them a snake and then they're going to get hurt, right?
Hmm.
And so um with those questions and everything, I think it's very much about trusting your gut. And if not, you keep asking, you keep probing, just like you said. And then it's like, all right, hey, let's come back to it. And I
Hmm.
think the people that look at it from a responsible manner
Hmm.
appreciate that because all right, now they realize we're teaching them something that they didn't think about, didn't know, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
And it better prepares them. And I do think that's our responsibility as breeders that, have this knowledge with these animals and your animals, you know, much better,
Hmm.
than any. It's like, oh, well, I got this animal from so and so and it's doing this. And it's like, I can give you so much, but that breeder definitely knows their animals in a way, right? That
Hmm.
if that's a common thing for them, um, but I think if you just go ask your breeder, well, obviously there's a reason they're asking somewhere else because something happened, So you get that.
Oh yeah, we get that a lot. I want to say probably 90% of the calls we get are from people who impulse shop, and then all of a sudden
Exactly.
they're all calling me back, and they're like, or Taylor, and they're like, "What? Why is this? And what's this?" And the biggest thing is this super dwarf or dwarf?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And
It's
it's sad out there, and it is, and it's it's the one thing that sets us apart, like you guys, is we don't. I'm not doing this for the money. I don't need it. I do it for the love
mhm.
of it. I've been wanting to do this for 46 years now that I'm 50, and now for the last four I've been doing it for. Just haven't had the opportunities before, and everything opened up well with this, and That's what we do. We want to help people. And again, I don't have to sell to anybody. And I have customers who come here who are not even customers of ours. They come here and I'll sit here for 2 or 3 hours on an afternoon on a Saturday or Sunday if I'm available. And I'll walk them through, show them the big girls, take out a 16 footer, let them hold it for a second, then I'll show them a baby and then I'll show them a sub adult and they'll get to see what it's like. And most people that come
Right.
here are surprised how Taylor can go in and just put her hand in an enclosure and no problems whatsoever. And we tell them, this is constant work. This isn't, I'm going to leave my snake in an enclosure and then 2 weeks later come back and play around with it. And it's, every night almost,
Right.
except for
Yeah, you
except for
gotta
the show weekends.
yeah, you need that interaction, because these
Right.
are a smart animal, and I
Hmm.
really do. I equate them, their intelligence is, like almost like a dog. Like if you what you feed into them and they will reciprocate it, and it is it is insane like just watching how much you can get out of your retic if you put the work into it.
Hmm.
And as babies, I mean, they definitely, they can be a little nippy or understanding the difference between cage defensive versus like when they're
Food.
out,
And
and food, all those things, right, are super, super important for them to understand. And my biggest one is like, okay, with your baby, you need to start tap training. And they're like, oh, but it's so easy. I can reach in and just get it. And I'm like, but there's going to come a time where you can't do that. And I was like, if you have not established that, like, I was like, think about it like you're raising almost like a child, like they hit that teenage years, they start to get that little bit of, all right, I'm gonna test the patience. I'm gonna see what I can get away with.
hmm.
It's so funny. And I'm like, the more that I changed the way that I looked at that, the more that I got out of them. And I was
Yeah.
like, and then I also felt the more that I also that I learned it, then I could put that across to people in a manner that made it where they could understand it. And for me, it's all about making stuff click, right?
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, everybody's afraid that every snake's just out to bite them, and I'm like, no. I was like, learn to read their body language. I was like, you were taught how to read body language of a dog from very young. I was like, let me show you. And when you make that click, right? Then
Yeah.
the light bulb goes on, and all of a sudden they're like, I'm not as scared anymore. And they're
Hmm.
like, all like just like that. For
Yeah.
someone who's been like, I'll never touch a snake, never be near it. And so for sure. All right, we're rabbit holing on this one. Like, I'm good at that. I'm really good at that. But
Yeah, it's that, but you got to expect that though. I mean, it's a show's a show. It's just like anybody who walks up to your table and it's like, oh, that's and I'm sure you get it and I get it too. It's the prices for a quality animal. I hate to say it. It's we as breeders put in a lot of time and work and feedings and everything else. It doesn't mean
yeah,
we're not taking it out on you that way. But it's our lives. We invest our time into these animals. We want to see them go out to good homes. If anybody comes to my table and they're like, "Ah, that's $600, man. I got 200. Why even bother, dude? Why even?" And the crappy part is they're probably going to go to that same table you said before and buy it from
right.
somebody else, and then they'll call me 2 weeks later. Oh, this snake is this and this snake is that, and it's like, you know.
Uh,
But we do what
yeah.
we do.
Oh yeah, for sure. We do. Do you so do you sell mainlands as well as the super dwarf and dwarf stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I sell, that's what we started out in was mainland. That was our beginning goals. We were just mainland strictly, and that's it. And then it was like, wait a second, Taylor's favorite morph, is snow. So
Hmm.
it's like I can't do that in mainland. So I gotta learn.
Right. Gonna
I
learn
gotta
the other
get I
side.
gotta get SD stuff or dwarf stuff. You know what I'm saying? So now that came into play, and then it was like we started see, we had our first clutch of some super dwarf stuff. It was lower percentage stuff, but we saw how much smaller they were. And we were like, man, this is pretty cool. We saw the patternings on some of the animals. It's a lot different. You get to,
Right.
it's for us, it was we didn't, you know, Joe, it's the mainland people and the super dwarf people, and it's like, dude, they're all beautiful no matter what, whether they're smaller or whether they're bigger. They all, no matter what, a retic is always going to be a quality, beautiful animal
Oh,
in either
100%.
in either form. So for us, we were just like, all right, let's jump in and start breeding some SD stuff. So, so we do
Okay.
both, and we do both, and we're probably going to stick with that. We're probably going to go 50 to 50% on our breedings with animals like that. So,
So that gives you a kind of a unique perspective to put out for people about, because I answer this question a lot, right? They're like,
mhm.
why is albino mainland, what, $200? And then why is a super dwarf albino $1,000, right? So how do you explain that to, your customer and to where they understand that difference and not be like, oh, it's a price gouge thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, to the breeders, as far as SD goes, they don't have so many genetics compared to the mainlands, and the higher percentage, again, these are for the people who want smaller animals. Some people like the bigger mainlands. They love them. They don't want to deal with super dwarf. So I vet to see how these people want. Some people don't know what they want. So I'll ask them and I'll tell them, and they'll say, "Why is that super dwarf so expensive?" And I'm like, "Number one, it's not a common thing.
Hmm.
So just like an ocelot's that price, this super dwarf is its own animal, and it's that price as well. Every animal has a price, and if
Right.
they can't deal with that and they're expecting to spend $400 on a super dwarf, a quality one at least, I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. But you can always tell them, save up for it. There's no rush. They're not going anywhere. You can always find a super dwarf or a dwarf or a mainland that you might be seeking out in time. So save up. I tell people again, this is the impulse buying. Just save up for a
Yeah.
little bit. If you got to save up for 2 months, save up for the 2 months. So and most people do. You'd be surprised. I have people who they come to the table, and I had somebody. I'm going to sell one of the pure females I have right now, and the guy was 2 months ago talking about it, and I was like, save up, dude. It'll be worth it. I'm like, you'll have that small animal. You can keep it at a small size and you won't have to worry about nothing. And he's like, I'll do that. And he did it. And he's like, all right, I got my money. I'm like, perfect. I love seeing
Right.
that. That's the best thing in the world. You can't do any better than that.
And I think that is the important part, and that's where those questions come in, especially for you being able to offer both sides, but
Hmm.
being responsible and saying, "Hey, yeah, I know you've got $400 right now, but what you're wanting isn't, within that range. So don't give up that."
Oh
And
yeah.
then 3 years from now, you're gonna be like, "This snake is too big," and you're gonna be looking to give it away or something. I'm like, "That's not what you want. That's not what you're
Mhm.
going for." But you have to be able to help mitigate and navigate that want in someone else, which is
Yeah,
kind of one of those tough parts sometimes. And you're gonna win some and you're gonna lose some,
of
on that
course.
too. I've definitely had that conversation with people many times, and they'll come back and be like, "Oh, I just went and got this mainland," and I'm like, they're like, "How big's it gonna get?" And I'm like, "I have no idea." Like, it could be 10 feet. Like I said, I've got a full grown male hide down there, and he's like 10.5 feet. I was like, but I've at the shop, I've said we got a platinum female that's over 20 feet. I mean, you're gonna talk to your breeder and find out on that to get you an idea.
Yeah,
But that
that's
explanation to help them understand and
mhm,
is what's gonna be, the important part, which I appreciate that you do because you could offer them both, but you're
mhm.
doing the responsible thing and not just saying, "Oh, alright, cool. I'm gonna put it in your hands and you're gonna wanna get rid of it, but whatever, it's $400 in my pocket." Like, that's not the mentality we need in order to
No,
keep
it's
this
not.
hobby going, right? Like, and that's what I wanna talk to the other breeders about, be like, "Come on, guys, like, do better on that aspect for sure."
Yeah, I mean, there's time and places for private deals, especially with high-end animals, but those are usually kept for those animals in general, but
Yeah.
and I've been behind the table before. I remember when I was growing up, when I was a kid to expos, and I wish half the guys were as cool as we are, in explaining things and giving the option. Nobody ever said to me, go home, save your money for 2 months, come back, and I will get you something near that you like, that you want, or I might have this still. Not everything gets sold quickly. That's what. Usually when people sell out really, really fast, they're usually really, really lower priced.
Right.
And again, as quality breeders, you should be able to hold back whatever you don't sell for a good amount of time. You know, I just, and then at that point it gets to where 50% on the table comes up, and then it's like these animals don't need to be sold at 50% off and don't need to be going to any Joe Schmo's house. It doesn't work that way.
So
We're
I I will
we're here
say
to
that
get.
was one of the wildest things to me is that when I got a few minutes to walk around Friday, and I wouldn't say it was retic tables, but I think it applies, basically to any animal you're gonna pick up there,
Mhm.
right? And
Yeah,
they were like, literally from Friday at the start, they're like, buy one, get one 50% off. And I'm like, and then
ridiculous.
the the and I'm like, do you not realize what you're putting in that person's mind is that you're willing to, like, why are you like scooting them out like, so like quick that you feel the need to like do that. And it actually, studies show like that starts to shy those people away, especially the ones that are there in the beginning of the show because they're there for a
Yeah.
different reason, right?
Mhm.
You're gonna get some people for sure towards the end of the show, or and I don't have an issue with the idea of like, cool, I came here with this much, like I'm at the end of the show, maybe I'll do a little bit steeper discount, but if you're out the gate, you're actually hurting your own market at your table because you're not expressing to them that you have a quality that you care about at that price point. That's
Mhm.
what it's a whole mentality that I think a lot of hobbyist breeders don't quite understand. I don't think that they study that sales side of it, and then they get frustrated, and then they vent online, and then, and it's like, oh, if you would just
Mhm.
educate yourself a little bit, you would actually understand because you have to all these animals are worth what someone's willing to pay for sure, right? I mean, it is not like there's 100% intrinsic value like this paper, right?
Mhm.
Like that you can sit here and just lay it all out because it's not a goods like that, right? It's not. But if you're not willing to show what that value is, then yeah, I don't think that's why people don't go to the tables, and then you hear them like, oh man, I lost money. I think that's one of those things I just picked up on as I was walking around. What's up, Riot Actic? How do I say that? Riot
Chaotic.
Actic? Riot
Yeah.
Actic? Anyway, um, I think I got it right. But oh, Jake's on here too. He came to
Yeah.
see you, Dax. Jake came to see you.
Yeah, I was at
I,
Jake's table this weekend at Tinley, hanging out with him and Aubrey. So yeah.
uh, Jake got on my picture of my new snake, and he's like, "Oh, geez, greater than Mochino." So I told him I'm gonna have him on here, and we're gonna debate it. Like we're gonna go. We'll see if he we'll see if he comes on one of these days. So
Yeah, Jake's a good dude, man. He's one of the first people who I've like hooked up with and spoke to since we first started. He's I got one of my first pies from him, beautiful pies. When he makes pies, dude, he makes pies. So
oh yeah,
from
golly,
yeah, Jake,
that he posted earlier.
yeah,
Um,
he's got nice stuff with pies. Yeah,
oh man,
he
no,
definitely
Jake
does.
is always, he's always been great with me. Been very friendly and everything, and always answered any questions, especially that I've had. It's always and he's just a fun guy to hang around, man. He's always making you laugh, like he's a riot. So
Yeah, he's good. He's usually got he's another one with quality animals, man. That especially the newer stuff he's come out with, and he's another breeder who I look to as like somebody who's very quality. The way he promotes himself, the way he's at the tables, the way he questions people too. Trust me,
Oh yeah.
he gets
No,
on
for
him,
sure.
he gets on him, and making him blush.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
I mean it's
Yeah.
good, man. It's good when you see these, and especially me coming up, and it's like when you have those people around you, like you got Garrett and stuff like that. It's good to see your work paying off, and people respect you more and more for being an honest person. And like I said, we do the shows. I don't have to sell to everybody. We've become more respected that way, because we just don't sell the animals. We don't need to. I don't need to rush anything
Right.
out. And that's what people got to do. They got to come to the shows, shop around, get a feeling. You want to talk to somebody who's knowledgeable. And when somebody as a breeder can't answer your questions, or it feels a little aloof, it should send you a signal. It should really send you a signal when somebody says it may be super dwarf. That's like the
Right.
biggest sign for anybody not to buy something and then they cost $300.
Yeah. Maybe. I'm like, no, it either is or it isn't. Like,
It isn't. Like I
this is
like yeah, we have some animals that don't have the best lineage. I'm not gonna say anything about it. I'm not gonna say, well, this might have soup. No, I'm just gonna it's a mainland. It's a female. I have her. She's 4.5 years old. She's about, I want to say maybe 8 foot, 8.5 foot. She's
what's
about
up,
to
Keys?
breed. She's about to breed next year. She'll have enough size in her, but just because she's tiny, and and she was supposed to have dwarf in her, I'm not going to say that. It's just going to be mainland. That's
Well,
it.
and
I'm not
that's
going
you just have to go with what like, and that's it. And so,
to.
and I've had that conversation too. Like, oh well, this might be, and I'm like, or I get that all the time. What does this look like? And I'm like, nope, not skiing behind that boat.
No,
Like, I
definitely
don't.
not. Definitely
Oh
not.
man, that one's a tough one. But I think again, it boils down to answers with tact and an understanding and a little bit of education, and I think you get a good response out of people. Every now
Oh
and
yeah.
again, somebody still cops an attitude, whatever. Like it's social media, block them. It's too easy. You
Yeah.
know,
I mean, we fall under that trap. Don't get me wrong. I've fallen a few times under that trap, but
everybody has. Like I said, we all have
yeah,
our days. Like
yeah,
we all have
correct,
our days.
exactly. Yeah, but it's show. I love doing shows. Again, the biggest thing for me, like it's just having fun, meeting the people, showing them the correct way of doing things. You can't beat that. For me, that's like end goals. The animals are great and all, but for me to have people that are happy and come back to me from, I mean, we have customers who have 7 or 8 retics from us, you
Right.
know, and they have the full setups. We have friends who build enclosures. We have friends who have other animals. Like if there's something they're looking for specific in SD, I always throw them your way. Or if I know somebody who has it already, I'll throw them that way. I'm not like, all right, well, no, I don't have a buy click, and it's nothing later. But
Right.
we're in it to make the hobby better, and shows are the best way to do it because that's where more people are going than anything else.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I think the shows. It's just the networking. You get that chance, especially if you're a person that's like like Garrett. A lot of them they show up because they just want to meet the person that they have been watching. And so that's part of it. And that's where I'm like, it's kind of nice now that with the dynamic that of way because I basically run the shows and everything now, and it's like, hey, dude, I need you to do that part, and that's what I need you to do because they're here to see you. I've got my volunteers, and they're a great team. We've been doing this a long time. We can handle the rest of it, and it's freed things up a lot where he gets to go out and just people get that experience that they came for. Uh, and I think that's a great thing because they came looking for that. We've had people that are like, I had one, it was their 5-year anniversary, and they came specifically to Tinley, specifically to buy from us and to
Nice.
see, and to meet Garrett and get their that, you know, and
Yeah.
stuff. I was like, that's really cool. I mean, like when you build that kind of community,
Mhm.
that's one of those things that, you give that to people if you can, for sure.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing. It's the community, and we tell people when they go to shows all the time. It's some people are looking for other stuff as well, and we help out. If I don't have something and they want a boa, I have friends as well. It should be a camaraderie. It shouldn't be.
Right.
Don't go to his table, or don't. Why are you going to bother with him for? Oh, he's too expensive. That's nah. It's you should go to. We want people to enjoy the shows, not have to worry about dealing with the drama that may be in a show. So, and
Yeah.
at Tinley's awesome. It's everybody. I mean, I even speak to so many ball python people, and you got Mike, Uncle Mike.
Oh yeah,
He's
Mike's monitors.
dude, man. He's one of the nicest people in the world. Not a snake guy. He's got monitors and sells nothing but monitors, and he's at the top of his game. But yet he'll come and chat it up a storm, and talk to everybody, no matter what, whether you like ball pythons or roaches or anything. He's there, and that's
Mike's
how it should be.
Mike's one of the most genuine dudes ever, for sure.
Yeah, he's like one of the staples. It's it's like when
Oh
you go to
yeah.
Tinley, you got to be Mike, and that's how it is. So yeah, but I love doing the shows, like I said before. So I mean, I wish you guys were doing more. I wish you guys were down here in Dallas. It would be fun.
Oh, I know.
I'm
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Trying, trying. Right now, Dallas is a pain though because they're not allowing retics, right?
well, Brian Potter. I spoke to him over the weekend. Me and him keep in touch a lot. So
Okay.
supposedly, Animal Control Services has brought it up to the board in Dallas
Okay.
for the city. They're saying March is going to be a little too early, but once the consensus goes through, it looks like September will be open to all the animals that aren't allowed there. Anything constrictive over 6 foot seems to be the issue. So no berms, no colubrids, no nothing. Anything that's 6 foot and constructive, they don't want there. But it's a 50
Wow.
year old. It's a 50-year-old regulation. It's not anything new. They've never looked into it because the show was in Arlington, not in Dallas. So, and Dallas never had an animal show like that with reptiles and stuff like that. So now that's new. Now they can present that, and Phil Goss from USARC is working on that as well. So hopefully it comes back, and then we can have everything there, and it'll feel like the old NARBC,
Right. Yeah,
and that's a
that's
great
awesome.
show. Yeah,
Yeah. I don't mean Phil's fighting for that, Phil's great for
great dude.
mitigating that. He's the face, I love it because I always see him. He'll post a picture like 2 days before, and then he comes up to me and he's like, I shaved the beard. I'm like, why? He's like, I can't have it. He's like, I had 3 days of growth and it had to go. He's like, I can't compete with you. I'm like,
Yeah, it's
oh, excuse me. That was one of the
so
funniest things. You know how many people I had that come up and they're like, oh my God, your beard's gone. Cause what? In March, it was, down to my call.
I think I
They're
texted you
like,
because I was like, "You cut it off." I was
yeah.
like, "Oh no!"
Man, Kim, she was like, "Did you lose weight?" Susie is. They're like, "You lost 20 pounds," and I'm like, "I don't think so." I'm like, "Dad bod's still here." They're like, "It's just in the face, like
It's in the face too.
the."
You look like a little
But
kid now.
yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Wow, you should see me clean shaven. I look 27 instead of 37. So
You should do that
wow.
one year. Go to Tinley clean shaven. That would be
I don't know
hilarious.
that. I don't know that anybody would know who I am. Like,
People know who
so when
you are,
I
but if you shaved fully and kind of bowed your head a little bit, I think you could get away with
oh, I'd
a lot
sneak
of
around.
people not
Well,
knowing you.
when I reset it, I took it down with clippers, and it was funny. When the next day I walked in, uh, me and Lauren went out for a drink, and we ran into my buddy Jason, and he didn't know who. He looked at Lauren. He's like, "Who are you with?" Like, he
I'm
didn't
telling you.
know. He did not recognize me. It was funny. I look very, very different with no facial hair. It's hilarious. So, but
Yeah. Yeah, but
um,
Tinley was a good show. It was a good time. Again, always a good time. Next year I'll be missing it, but it's when you don't vend going there every time and living, having to fly in 2 hours, 2.5 hours, depending on it. It's a little taxing. So it's like
oh
next year I'm gonna
yeah,
take a break. Yeah, next year I'm gonna take a break. We're gonna do the St. Louis show, like I said, for NARBC. Hopefully by next year, Dallas will be open again to retics, and then we can go from there.
hey, if you get that word, you let me know. I need that way I can start working it again. I'm
Oh,
trying
you need
so
to
hard
come
to get
down,
down there.
man. It'll
I'm
be nice,
trying.
you know.
It's a
It's
work in progress. So,
it
um,
is. It definitely is. There's some
but
good
if
shows that are coming out. So, we just want everybody to go, that's what the show's about, talking about Tinley and shows as well. And, Joe will tell everybody out there, have fun, enjoy yourselves, You don't have to buy anything. You can always come home, ask questions from us, being the breeders, and knowing that we got you guys back.
and I think that's also another good opportunity. Just look at a show as an opportunity to go and get education. Right? I mean, there's so many opportunities, with Morph Market and just direct contact with breeders through, different Facebook groups and stuff that if you haven't kept a species, then, there's multiple people there that have usually almost anything that's for sale. You're going to have, excuse me, those really rare things, for instance, like the Bolins, where you may just be able to go and talk with one person. But what I've found and stuff, especially because you're going to have breeders that come from all over the US. And I think that while the basics are pretty much there across the board, I think that depending on what your altitude is, depending on what your temperature is, what are your winters like, what are your summers like, how you keep in Arizona is very different. Or not very different, but it has its quirks in comparison to how I keep
Oh
it here
yeah.
in Pittsburgh, right?
Hmm.
How Weston keeps in, Colorado, right? Like
Yeah.
that altitude, all that stuff makes a difference. And that's where if you've never kept a species, go take that opportunity, go around, find everyone that has it, talk to them. And
Correct.
then that's where I think that the more that you start talking to people, then once you own that knowledge, then you can start applying certain things that you think, right? And or if something worked over here for this person, all right, let me bring it, let me try it, right? Um, and I think with keeping any animal, it's important to know the science behind it, right? And those hard lines. I mean, obviously you can't keep a retic, at 38 degrees. It's not gonna happen, right? But you don't have to, they don't need to be at 90 all the time either, right? Like
Mhm.
people are like, why is my retic grumpy? I'm like, how hot is it? And they're like, well, it's 90 degrees. And I'm like, if you stayed in a house that was 90 degrees all the time, you would be grumpy too. Give them a chance to
Mhm.
cool off,
Yeah.
And so I think, take that opportunity. Look at a show as an educational opportunity, versus,
Correct.
hey, I've got to go spend money, right? Like, no, go around, take the time, get to know people, see who you feel is going to help you. Who do you get a connection with? Because that's going to be the person that you're going to be able to call at 11 o'clock at night and be like, this is happening, it's weird, and I don't know what to do, right? But you got
Yeah.
to build
I'm
that
I'm I'm
connection.
there. I'm there. So
So,
you always want to
uh,
vet your breed. You want to vet your breeders as much as they vet you. So.
oh yeah, 100%. And
Hmm.
that's where, educating yourself as the consumer is also just as important as, being educated by the breeder. And
Yes. Hmm.
if you're not,
Especially.
if,
Go ahead.
and just like I said earlier, like trusting that gut instinct, if you're talking to a breeder and something seems off, go to the next one. I'm telling you, like, trust your gut instinct and go with it because it's rarely wrong. And
Hmm.
you may not know exactly what it is. It may just be you and that person. The snakes may be quality or the geckos or whatever. But if you're not going to be able to feel like you can reach back to that person and
Hmm.
stuff, then you're definitely going to have some issues there. I think in the future,
Correct. Yeah. And
So
usually, I tell everybody, and I will give this a little bit of advice: go to Tinley if you can. Go to Tinley. You'll meet a lot of quality people. You'll meet a lot of quality breeders, especially that retics being a niche item. There's I will say this: there's nowhere near the amount of retics as bull python breeders. So
oh yeah,
especially Tinley being such a big show, and
right,
I mean I could probably count on our hands how many breeders retics are there. You guys hold the SD stuff down easily.
yeah,
Jake's there, Aubrey's there. Titan Retics is there with
Titan,
Keith
Sal,
Samba, Sal. Geez,
uh,
who else is
Izzy.
there? Izzy.
Izzy's
Yeah,
there. I
you know,
mean,
there's
how yeah, how many more? Yeah, full on like actual
in your
breeders.
in your face. Gavin and Amanda are there.
Oh, Gavin and Amanda. Yep, in your face exotics will be there.
You know,
Hi Tay.
said hi, Tay. So you know,
Uh,
it's nice that you also get that choice of quality people, and like you said, vet the
right.
breeders as well. You know, if you don't
Yeah.
feel comfortable, you know, go there's but Tinley is the place to be, and I seriously advise everybody just go once. You'll probably never be happy at any other expo, to be honest with you, but you know, you'll at least get that idea, and you'll be able to see quality animals. You'll be
Right.
able to see quality breeders, and in that turn, it flows down where you go to other shows and you'll be able to read quality breeders, see hack breeders, and people who just don't care, kind of thing. You know,
True.
I try to tell people there's people who do sell multiple species of animals, and that's great and well and good. But when these people have two retics on their tables, probably not the best person to go to. They aren't, and I hate to sound, you know, mean about it, but they're probably not. You know, usually they get that from a friend who can't hold them, or somebody who bought them and needs to get rid of it because they can't take care of it, and it's just passed
Yeah.
down the line. You know, we want people to respect these animals and do they can buy the best of them. So,
Yeah,
you
for
know, with
sure.
that. Mhm.
Cool. Well, hey, I know, guys, Dax was like so gracious, and I'm 10 minutes into his New York Yankees game. So, and we're coming up close on the hour anyway. So, but tell everybody where they can find you
We're at
and
DNT
Taylor.
Retics and Taylor. We're on DNT Retics on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Um, you can hit us up from there. Like I said, I'm always up. So if you message me, I'm quick to answer. It doesn't fail within 2 seconds of me answering you back. You know, and again,
That's true.
we're here to help everybody, whether your animal's not from us, whether it's from somebody else and you're just nervous or scared. We're here for everybody. You know, we want everybody to have a pleasant experience, and that's our main goal.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, I can attest to that. He saved the bacon here and got on with us and gave y'all some awesome knowledge. So I really appreciate it, brother. Much
Uh,
love and to you and Taylor, and thanks for jumping on
we
last minute
appreciate
and
we
stuff. But
appreciate it, dude.
go,
It was great. Love seeing you. I might not see you next year, but hopefully we can make something up for Dallas.
oh yeah, nah, we'll figure it out, buddy.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Awesome. Hey
Uh,
guys, everybody, thanks for joining us. Like, hope you guys learned some stuff and got some stuff out of it. It was great seeing everybody on the show. And we will catch y'all in 2 weeks. Hopefully, Chris will not have a work issue to come up on this one, man, so we can get him back.
Definitely. Hope he's all right.
All
All
right,
right,
bud. We'll catch you guys later.
Welcome to the Retic Rundown, where the giants roam and the legends are found. Uncoil the truth, the wisdom is sound in the Retic Rundown. We're breaking new ground. From the jungle's deep to the captive scene, Retics rule the world if you know what I mean. With patterns so bold and sizes extreme, in the Retic Rundown, we're breaking new ground. Welcome to the Retic Rundown, where the giants roam and the legends are found. Uncoil the truth and let the wisdom resound. In the Retic Rundown, we're breaking new ground. Unlocking secrets of the Serpentine Kings, sharing knowledge, stories, everything it brings. From breeders to keepers, we pull the strings in the Retic Rundown. Hear the echoing rings. Welcome to the Retic Rundown, where the giants roam and the legends are found. Uncoil the truth and let the wisdom resound. In the Retic Rundown, we're breaking new ground. Welcome, Retic lovers. Welcome, Retic lovers.